to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage podcast. Today, Nadine has been nice enough to bless us some of her time and share some of her experiences in real estate. So I'll kick it right off to Nadine and let her tell us a little bit about herself and her business.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here. And so I am in my fifth year of real estate as an agent. I started in the wonderful year of 2020, January 2020. So we're exactly at the 5-year mark for me. So started out in Virginia, working there, and then moved to Charlotte, Cinco de Mayo, 2020. So I'm in this particular market. So now it's been about a little over 4.5 years, right? So I was a basketball coach prior to becoming an agent. And so I coached at the collegiate level. So I played at James Madison University in Virginia. And then as soon as I graduated, I went into coaching. Wasn't the plan. Nothing that I am doing or have done in life besides playing basketball and going to school or some things that I planned on doing, right? So coached for 2 years at James Madison after I graduated, and then went on to Indiana for 1 year, and then I was at Purdue for 13 years. On the latter end of my coaching career, I started investing in property. So I was on podcasts, and a Bigger Pocket podcast is kind of how I got it. Started in like investing in real estate and things like that. Invested in some properties up there in Indiana. The first one was a flip. I don't know why. Maybe there's too much HGTV, but I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So that was my first and only. However, from that came a really huge relationship because the realtor introduced me to a contractor, and that contractor became my business partner for the Airbnbs that we bought. And so we invested in a couple there. When COVID happened, we liquidated a lot of stuff, and then one he wanted to sell, but I kept, and so I still have one up on campus at Purdue. And then I had to make a life change. So got out of coaching. And so my wife was coaching as well at Virginia Tech. And so moved down to Virginia. We have a son, 5 years old. Now he's 5 years old. And so moved down to Virginia and went full-time in the real estate there. So I started out in Virginia, and then quickly made the switch over here. So I was Virginia and North Carolina there for about 1.5 years. My first closings were in parking lots with, the notary sitting outside and everybody all masked up and things like that. So that was my first experience with a closing. Was that April 2020. And then I moved here to Charlotte, got with Allen Tate. That's the firm that I work with. And just this June was named broker in charge for our office. So we have a small office. We're right uptown in Charlotte, right in the middle of the city, which is awesome. And we'll have anywhere between 15 and 20 agents. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit, what has that been like, making that transition from, agent to broker there?
I'm on the phone a lot. I was already on the phone a lot. I'm on the phone a lot. I've had more spreadsheets in my inbox and on my drive than I've ever had in my whole entire life. There are a lot of meetings. So, dealing with that adjustment, it's been fun because, again, I've worked with these agents that I'm now managing. So the relationship that we have is awesome. And so it was a smooth transition that way. So the adjustment is now going to come back to getting back to my recruiting roots from like when I was in the coaching. basketball to, now trying to recruit some agents on and things like that. So hadn't really gotten to that part yet, but I am still selling as
Nice.
well. So, definitely, still working with my clients and things like that, but switching gears to where I'm leaning heavy on listings, more so than buyers. So I'll still work with buyers, obviously, but then, kind of use those as learning opportunities for my agents,
Yeah.
as well. So,
Nice.
somebody called me today about a listing opportunity. So, I'll let them know, hey, listen, when we get together next time, I'll probably have a couple of agents with me and that kind of thing. So, so again, opportunities to learn like in real life situations, because in a lot of circumstances, the broker in charge is also selling. But
Yeah.
I don't compete with them for listings or anything like that. So,
Nice. And that's probably good for them, right?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, and I know you kind of touched a little bit on the recruiting side. Have you guys done anything to, start to market the brokerage? Or was you doing anything maybe before you took over the broker position in June, to, get the word out there about, some of the value things you guys have to offer agents?
So that's what I'm actually working on. So initially, the charges, I just want to make sure all of the agents who are here currently are good, getting my feet wet with the position and things like that. So right now is the time that it's deep dive into, okay, what are we doing? What can we do? And so one of the things that I'll be working on our marketing team with is why real estate, and then why Allen Tate. And then we'll do like a little PS, why Center City, which is our office, so that people know why, they chose, a lot of us, for our clients, chose to become realtors and things like that, so they get to hear that and relate to that as other agents. But then why they specifically chose Tate, because, of how long our companies withstood, the tests of time. So they've been through many, many markets and have been successful. We're expanding. We're a family-owned, privately owned business. Our partner is Howard Hanna up north. And so with that, we're the number one privately owned real estate company in the nation, right? And so we have access to a lot of tools. We have a big network and things like that. So, but besides that, just the culture of the company, like when you're working with an Allen Tate agent, you're working with somebody who is very prepared. They know what they're doing. And a lot of times, we've been in situations where, we are helping some of the other agents on the other side of the transaction and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe because, it's a different kind of brokerage where they might not have somebody that's there physically with them, or, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so just kind of standing on our brand and telling people, what we're all about. But I want them to hear that from other agents, not just the person that's trying to get them to come to the office. These are the people that are in it every day, and they choose to be here every day, and that kind of thing. So I think that will resonate. So that's my project right now that I'm trying to work on, is, people's why, like, why they would choose to get into real estate, so that kind of works on our client facing side, and why Tate will work on, where that is our, recruit or other agent facing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that is also, it can be huge getting your, especially, if we can do it in some kind of live setting, like, an event, some kind of mixer, anything like that, where we can get our agents, in front of other agents that are maybe thinking about joining, and them being able to kind of, show them and tell them that, very transparently, they know that other agents aren't really trying to hide anything or hold anything back in regards to, what their broker does, or, how they help them. So that it can be huge, getting that perspective from one agent to another. Can really help make that transition into them coming into the office much smoother. Like I know just in our office here today with Alan, they had an event yesterday, which I actually wasn't in the office for, because I still had to, do some podcasts, make some calls, things like that. So I wasn't in there, but they said they had about 50 people. And I know this morning they already had 3 people in the room there with Melissa getting onboarded and kind of getting set up for success. So that, having those in-person events and leveraging the agent to agent connection can definitely be huge. So I'm glad you touched on it. Awesome. Have you guys looked in anything additional, as far as this year, like looking into any systems, anything like that to help you guys on the recruiting side?
Oh, we have so many tools, like I can't even. So I just, we focus on like one or two, or however many, we have capacity for. But there
Yeah.
are just, and that's a benefit to being a part of, our firm, are the tools that we have access to. But in terms of exploring anything new, everything I deal with for recruiting is going to be new to me.
All right.
Because again, I've used our tools, but not necessarily, we use Salesforce, but as agents, that's more like where we go to for announcements, to ask about vendors, and talk about open houses and those kind of things.
Oh yeah.
But on the leadership side, that's it. Kind of houses our database um, for recruits.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We'll kind of dive into the future vision and growth for you guys. Where do you see yourself headed this year? What's kind of the goal for you that you want to accomplish? By kind of this time, next year.
So funny you should say that. So growth is actually like our firm word for the year. So we're as a firm, and then definitely as an office, focusing on listings, and just being for our office. We have a very collaborative group. We're uptown, so we have 4 wards uptown, and then we have surrounding communities and
Okay.
pockets and things like that. So the idea this year is to get to know our neighbors, right? And so that means literally our neighbors, on the street. So we're next to a hotel on one side, and then there's an art slash it's a bar, but they also display art, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
They just moved there. But like we want to start on our block and then start working our way out, so that our community is familiar with who we are and vice versa. So like when we're walking on the street and we see, one of our neighbors, they know who we are. And that, oh, Tate's going to attend the event. The agents from Center City are like always around, and that kind of thing. So supporting our local businesses and things like that. So we actually started doing, so our Tuesdays, we have our sales meetings usually, but we do what's called a community coffee chat now, where we'll pick a different coffee spot within our, footprint and right here, in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Patronize them, meet the manager. We have our meeting, but it's a no agenda meeting, where we just kind of catch up on, what's going on in people's lives, and, any funky transaction stories or anything like that. But also we get to, like I said, patronize local, and then also get to know the managers, find out if they have any events going on and how we can collaborate. Because that's the whole idea, is we want to be able to start collaborating with our neighbors, like I said, because it's one thing to have brand recognition, which we do have, right? But it's another thing for people to be able to identify you and know you and feel comfortable. Like, hey,
Yeah.
these are our friends over at Ellen Tate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we never know. I know we talk about it all the time on the podcast, but we never know what bridge that we build, who's going to come across that bridge, after them.
Yeah.
Whether it be, maybe just meeting a manager at the coffee shop, maybe he tells one of his friends about it, and his friends are, maybe 3 or 4 of them all looking to buy homes. Like, we never know what kind of relationships, what kind of connections we're going to make. So I know that's always a big stress, putting our best foot forward, making sure we're always, having the kind of best conversation, the best, even if it ends in maybe they, aren't going to go forward with the deal anymore. Not burning that bridge, may allow some other people to come across it as well. So no, that's awesome. The networking and network is your net worth. I know it's been said quite a few times on here as well. So yeah, the more we can network and get out there, especially in our community and surrounding, neighbors, that's huge. So that's awesome. That's a really awesome approach you guys have to. It's something unique. I have over like 50, 60 podcasts. I don't think anyone's really mentioned, going out and going to local businesses, more so kind of targeted, going after the individual. So it's really smart. That's awesome. You guys are doing that.
Thanks.
And I know that was kind of the short-term goal. And I don't know if it's something, I know you said, kind of just taking over the position last June. I don't know if it's something you've had a ton of time to, put thought into. But do you guys know if you have any goals like over the next 5 years? Like I know 2030 kind of sounds like the future a little bit.
That's crazy.
Do you guys have anything that, is on the agenda, or anything that you guys want to, when we look back in the past 5 years, we really want to have accomplished there? It could be personally as well.
Well, personally, I would like to be somewhat fluent with being able to speak Spanish and have conversations besides, do you know where the bathroom is?
Yeah.
So that and not tightening up. I have to get one. So learning how to golf.
Nice.
So taking some lessons, and so that I know what's happening, when I swing. We might still not know where the ball is going to go. But yeah, so doing that, because I feel like that's something that you can do all of your life. Basketball, not so much.
Yeah.
So doing that, and then so I have a 5-year-old. So just following, him around and whatever he's doing. And like travel, I love to travel. So those are things kind of personally. On the professional side, I don't know, because like I said, Jake, I didn't even really plan on being in this position.
I understand.
And so they say the quickest way to make God laugh is to make your own plans, right? So
Yeah.
I just want to be in position to be able to enjoy my family and enjoy life, and be able to, serve the people who I work for and with, in a way that's like extremely satisfying to them, and bringing value. Because that's it. At the end of the day, that's what I tell the agents. I want to be able to bring something of value, to you, everybody I come in contact with, at some point. So.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a good segue too. I wanted to let the people know where can they find you if they're interested in learning more about you guys, learning more about the business, or maybe just getting into real estate as their first step. Where can they find you? Do you have any social media, anything for the brokerage or yourself there?
Oh yes. So my personal my Instagram is Home with Coach Nay. That's my Instagram handle. It used to just be Coach Nay, but had to add the home piece to it.
Right.
And then so Allen Tate Company, that's our whole company, and then our specific office is Allen Tate Center City. And so those you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. And look us up, shoot me a message, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about real estate or life in general. I've been very fortunate to be a part of companies who share, right?
Absolutely.
And that means so much to a person. So for me, coming from a business that was totally unrelated into something completely new, that was very important to me. So am I going to be somewhere where they have tools, and then am I going to be trained properly, and be able to be educated in the field well? And the best training has come from some of the top agents at all the offices that I've been and I've been a part of too. But they were just so willing to share information, and I was like, how do you have time to talk to me? And you're out here, you're killing it, you're a top producer, you're doing this and that. And, I watched the show, so I had kind of an image of what I thought, some of the agents would be like.
Oh, yeah.
But no, again, like I said, some top producers. And I think part of that is showing up. Like, you have to show up. So I'd show up to the office and I would just be a sponge, right? And they were always just willing to share, show me things, answer any questions that I had, that kind of thing. And sometimes you just sit in there and listen and you learn.
No,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so just continuing to create the environment that made this, a very comfortable thing for me. So.
Absolutely. And you guys take it from Nadine, if it's something where we're just looking to maybe get started as an agent, kind of worried about taking that first step, we can all do it. It definitely helps if we have someone, the support and the help, like Nadine might be able to give us there as well. So definitely we'll have everything linked below if you guys like to get in contact with her, have any questions about anything we spoke about on the podcast too. But I really appreciate you for coming out today, Nadine. That was an awesome podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.